My plants in the sun, I'm watching them grow. Look at them go, they're gonna really grow.
And we're out. Right. Do you ever do any sort of songs that have maybe a little more lively tune? I could lay down some beatboxing here and you could lay a fat beat over the top of it. Shall we try? Welcome, my friends, to the Undergrowth. This is where we speak to celebrated scientists and eminent educators about plants and pests. Let us embrace knowledge together on this expedition into mysterious realms. I'm Sebastian Eugene Bartholomew. Today I have the distinct pleasure of talking to Dr. Chelsea Harbach, who belongs to the Royal Academy of Iowa State University as part of the PIDC, which stands for Pharmaceutical Interventions for Dying Crops. Is this the correct acronym?
I think the last I checked, it was Plant and Insect Diagnostic Clinic.
Oh, well, thank you for correcting a long-standing public misunderstanding for our viewers out there who might misunderstand things, because I don't. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a plant disease diagnostician?
I'm Chelsea Harbach, the plant disease diagnostician here at Iowa State University. I did my PhD here with Dr. Toka. Finished in 2019, spent 3 years working with Illinois Extension, but I've known pretty much since my senior year of undergrad when I took a class about plant disease diagnostics at University of Illinois that I wanted to be a plant doctor once I found out that plant doctors existed.
Do you give some sort of anesthetic to the plants before you start cutting into them?
Well, we don't. As far as I know, there are no anesthetics for plants, and I know it's actually kind of debated whether plants feel. We don't need to get into the weeds with that one, but we don't provide any anesthetic services for our plants.
So do you have to provide some sort of soundproofing on the walls so that the other scientists aren't disturbed when they start to scream?
We've had no complaints so far about plants screaming.
Well, this was an interesting dive into the mind of our intrepid interviewee. Tell us, Dr. Harbach, why is it important to identify plant disease?
So it all boils down to our integrated pest management principles.
I've heard of that before.
Yes, so if we're going to apply management methods to control something,
yes,
we need to know what it is we're trying to control. We don't want to just put out both physical efforts and chemical efforts to control something that either isn't there or has been misidentified.
Right, so an analogy from the insect world would be you must know that it's a tomato hornworm before you get up and you stomp and you crush the life out of it, right?
Exactly,
right. Okay.
Just like that.
Well, the insect diagnostician, as I just referred to, is telling me how he can crush and liquefy an organism and use its life essence, also known as DNA in the science world, to help identify it. Are the processes that you use to identify plant disease a little, shall we say, more orthodox?
Well, we do use the same methods sometimes, but we have a lot of other methods that we can use to diagnose plant problems too. Indeed. Usually we're only gathering that life essence if we truly can't figure out what we've cultured. But we have a lot of simpler ways that we can identify plant diseases.
Can you describe one that you commonly use in your endeavors in the PIDC?
Plant pathologists, we get to use a word that disturbs a lot of people.
Like phlebotomist?
This might even be more disturbing.
Philologist.
Probably more disturbing.
Oh my.
We use moist chambers.
Moist.
So moist chambers are very commonly used in plant diagnostics because we put sick plant tissue into basically a box that's going to have a lid, dampen a paper towel and put our plant tissue in there, and this moist environment can help any fungi that might be infecting the plant tissue to sporulate. and we use those spores, vegetative or sexual, to identify fungi on plants.
Oh, that's very interesting. You were right. That word moist takes on a life of its own. There are some words that you look at, you read them over and over again, or you say them over and over again, and they start to look very strange indeed, but all you need to do is say moist once, and it gives me the shivers. Reminds me of my armpits after these interviews.
Yeah, I had to get really comfortable with the word moist as a plant pathologist.
Once you identify a plant disease, what kinds of surgeries can you perform here? For example, a lobotomy?
Okay, so I think that's a made-up word.
No.
It sounds great, but I'm pretty sure that's a made-up word. With the samples that we get in the clinic, we're not actually looking to cure the samples we get, because the samples we get are destined for the garbage or the autoclave.
Call yourself a plant doctor and you're not trying to cure the plant of its maladies?
So not the
Isn't there
sample.
some sort of Hippocratic oath that you have to take
We're not trying to cure
before you become a plant doctor?
No, actually.
Do no harm or some such like that, and instead you're like, and then you just toss them.
What we do is actually take the information that we gather from the sample that's provided to us from our clients, and then write up a report with our findings and provide management methods for our clients. So the samples we get, we don't do anything with after we're done with them. We're providing information for our clients who are actually caring for the whole plants in whatever environment they care for their plants in.
The dreaded environmental.
Yes, yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is in kind of this second floor plant zoo where the wind can't get to it and the sun has to pass through this membrane here. There's no laughing songbirds to perch upon its branches. And I would be sick as well.
Yeah, me too.
Well, how can people who are interested in finding out what is wrong with their plants, how can they send in pictures or send in samples?
So people often do send us photos before they send us a sample, and we actually don't do plant diagnostics via photos alone, because in order to actually diagnose a plant problem, we need to see a physical sample to be able to look for the signs of the pathogen.
Right.
But when people send us a sample, we do really like getting photos with the sample, and we have actually really nice website with a lot of information on how to collect, prepare, package, ship all sorts of different types of plant samples. And these guidelines are really important, not just for us and the samples we're getting, but the quality of the sample we get is going to determine the quality of the diagnosis, essentially.
Right.
So it's not just in our best interest to get a good sample, it's in our client's best interest to really make sure that they're preparing the best sample for us.
Right, right. So if someone were to send in a pile of sawdust, it would be very difficult to ID what created that sawdust.
Yes, yeah, we can't do much with sawdust.
I think it'd be a buzzsaw or something like that.
It could have been a buzzsaw. We have no way of knowing.
Right, right. So you need a physical sample to diagnose a plant disease. So if someone were to send you in a picture of an oak tree without any limbs, it was just a trunk reaching toward the sky, you would have to have one of those limbs rather than just saying, oh, that's the branchy fall off disease.
Yes, and we also can't really do anything with a plant if it's completely dead. We're not in the business of autopsies. We're in the business of actually working with a plant that's still living.
Right, you like to cut them apart where they're still alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no anesthetic.
No anesthetic.
Pretend you don't hear their screams.
I don't have very good hearing, so maybe I really don't.
Right.
I'm not pretending, I just don't have good hearing.
Right, okay. I see. I'm sorry I interrupted your soliloquation.
Yeah, but yeah, we don't do plant autopsies. The plant material that we need needs to be living. Again, we have guidelines about this on our website. We really like samples that include what we call the zone of transition, where there's part of the plant material is affected, part of it's completely healthy. So we have this kind of like leading edge of the infection. That's where we're gonna have the best chance of recovering any signs of pathogens.
Right. The zone allows you to kind of look into both the past and the future simultaneously and get a better picture of the present because of it, right?
Yep, we like to get in the zone.
In the zone.
So you can just search Plant and Insect Diagnostic Clinic, and the Iowa State one should be the first one to show up.
Right, right, as it should. It is the clinic that belongs to the Royal Academy of Iowa State University. Mm-hmm. And what is more regal than that? Mm-hmm. Is there a special plant morgue where dead plants are sent if they don't survive the diagnostic procedures?
So we send them, if they're in-state samples, we just send them to the trash.
Right.
If they're out-of-state samples, they actually get autoclaved before they get sent to the trash.
Oh my, and why is that?
Because out-of-state samples, it's part of being a biosafety level 2 laboratory. It's just our protocol for keeping things safe as possible in Iowa, trying to not introduce any possible things that might have come in from out of state.
Right, so we don't want any of Minnesota or Nebraska or Missouri's life essence making its way here, is that?
Yuck.
Yes.
No. I would like to say that I really like Minnesota. I don't have anything against other states. I'm just going with the joke here.
Well, dear listeners, it has come to my attention that our intrepid interviewee has a most notable tattoo. It has to do with the destructive disease of soybean known as white mold. In fact, this tattoo is of a sclerotia with an apothecia growing out of the top of it. It is magical. Will you care to show the viewers your tattoo?
It's kind of hard to show, but there it is. And it's not just a disease on soybean. This has over 200 hosts.
Sunflower?
A lot of vegetables. You can see it on your tomatoes and peppers.
Oh my. I like my salsa.
Beans.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a problem for a lot of people, not just our corn or I guess our soybean farmers, corn and soybean.
Right. That is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Well, we also just wanted to add a kind footnote for our listeners who might be listening from beyond the borders of the civilized place known as Iowa, that we hold or harbor no such ill feelings towards our neighboring states like Minnesota or Wisconsin or Missouri or Nebraska or Hawaii. They're all very wonderful places, and I'd like to visit those faraway destinations someday. Oh, it's my distinguished podcasting friend, Mr. Edward Zaworski. Oh, I see dead plants.
I can't do it.
Why don't you want to come back and talk with us? Please, Edward, it's been so long. Edward, don't go.
He probably put his headphones back on. He can't hear you anymore.
Oh, my tears will flow profusely when this interview is over.
I'm proud of you for keeping it in the moment.
Thank you for understanding.
That's impressive. Not everybody could do that. I couldn't.
I don't cry in front of the viewers. Tell us your favorite part of your job here. You get to diagnose all sorts of different plant diseases and I'm sure help people, right?
I've always been just like somebody who likes to help people. So to be able to pursue plant pathology and plant diseases and do it in a meaningful way that really helps people is the best. That's our witch's broom, Sebastian.
Oh, it's not some sort of upside down bonsai? Mm-mm. No.
Nope, that was hanging off of a limb on a pine tree, or this is a fir tree in Cedar Rapids, and I went and picked it up just to have for fun.
What is the witch going to do without her broom?
I guess she'll be walking.
That's a long way. But I suppose there's interstate hitchhike or something like that.
Yeah, that's how I get to and from work.
Oh. What is your least favorite plant disease?
Well, so my least favorite's probably not actually a disease, but an abiotic thing that we see all too often. And it just kind of breaks my heart whenever I have to tell a client that we suspect that their plant's dealing with environmental stress.
Oh no, they've been poor plant parents.
It's not always their fault.
Right, right. So maybe some tips are don't plant your trees too deeply, don't mow so closely to your oak so that you don't biff some of the bark off when you're not paying attention and you're listening to your favorite podcast or Kid Rock or something like that while you're mowing the lawn. Other things could be like put some water on your plant or leave it in the sunshine or something like that. Is that? Don't pour the salt shaker down into
give it
this.
some
Don't like salt.
nutrients. Maybe sing it a little song.
Right, not Kid Rock.
Probably not. That would probably be a little stressful for the plant.
Right. What's your favorite song to sing to plants?
I don't know. I just kind of make up songs.
Make up songs?
Yeah, I don't have one song I go to. It's kind of like when I sing songs to my dog. I just kind of make things up as I go.
Right, right. If you're such a good song maker-upper, can you sing something for us now?
Oh, I'd be like, you're doing a good job, little plant. You can grow. You can do it. Let's go.
You're doing a good job, little plant. You're doing a good job. Come on, let's grow. Can we sing it together? You're doing a good job, little plant. You're doing a good job. Come on, let's grow. I don't want you to get disease. I could lay down some beatboxing here, and you could lay a fat beat over the top of it. Shall we try?
My plants in the sun, I'm watching them grow. Look at them go, they're gonna really grow.
And we're out. Well, indeed, I most heartily thank you for your expertise and eloquence in explaining to our intrepid learners out there how to diagnose plant diseases and what to do if they have a plant disease at their own home. Dr. Harbach, we are most deeply in your debt, and also to your fellow extension workers at the Royal Academy of Iowa State University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastian.
This is the Undergrowth.
All right, let's go. Come on. I want to get in one thing. I got the big dolphin suit. Let's go. Don't mess this up. All right? 3, 2, 1. Action.
Edward, you seem to be ignoring me. Edward, we're filming a documentary. Would you like to come join us?